This video is to compare the performance of the F4U-4 Corsair with and without the Instructor. It utilizes simple controls with the joystick versus real controls and auto trim also with the joystick. In this case, we're diving. We're going to hit about 795. This is with simplified controls. This is a custom battle on Berlin. I'm using manual engine controls so that I can whip, and I have fuel set not to drain so that the weight stays constant on the aircraft. I will make 4 full rotations or full 360-degree turns with the Corsair in both of these tests. In this first test, it requires about 78 seconds. Part of the reason I'm talking is so that you don't die of boredom while you just watch me turn in a circle. Through the first 3 full turns, or 1080 degrees, the Corsair is doing 359 kph, and it finishes stable or sustained at about 330 to 335 kph. Not that you need the recommendation, but using the compass is probably the easiest way to benchmark whatever turn increment you're interested in, although that doesn't necessarily lend itself well to increments finer than 45 degrees or so. Left the sound in the video because there's an indication there for aircraft performance when you're close to your critical AOA, and of course you can also see the AOA indication in the virtual cockpit, which is part of why I use it. I've sped up this part of the video. You can see that I just switched over to full real controls. So while there is auto trim, the instructor is no longer managing the maneuver or limiting AOA. So if I want to pull myself into a wing stall, I can. My observation for this second part of the test is that I level at about 785 kph versus about 795 kph in the first test. On balance, I don't think 10 kph at the top end really matters that much. Video is back in proper 1x speed, and it will be immediately apparent from the on-screen indicator for G-load and the fact that I almost blacked the pilot out twice that without the instructor in play, the Corsair pulls much harder at high speed. So while the Corsair does have more compression than something like, say, a Mustang or a Thunderbolt, it's clear here that what feels like compression if you're flying with mouse aim or simplified controls is actually an instructor limit. You can just observe how much closer to the critical AOA for the aircraft I am, and I'm not an especially good pilot. There's no rudder input here. This is just all aileron and elevator. And the 4 turns in this second iteration require 70 seconds. You go through 1080 degrees at 316 kph, and we finish stable at about 300 to 305 kph. The so what there is if you were to average the turn rate over the whole test, it is roughly 20.8 degrees with the instructor and 23.1 degrees without the instructor, so a not insignificant difference.